Hello, and welcome to Regionally Speaking, and this program that's a follow-up of an earlier one that we had on public health access in Greater Cleveland. With me today is the Executive Director of the Northeast Ohio Alliance for Hope, Travell Harp. And in his position, he's going to provide us with the background of the creation of the Northeast Ohio Alliance for Hope that goes by the name NOAH. Travell.
Thank you so much. NOAH is a faith-based organization comprised of faith-based congregations and faith institutions. Pretty much, it came out of the merger of two organizations, BOLD, which was an organization that did sort of some of the same things that NOAH does now, but on the west side of Cleveland, and United We Can, which is a Cleveland-based, faith-based organization. And so about maybe 12 years ago, NOAH became what it is today, the Northeast Ohio Alliance for Hope.
So it represents a merger of two institutions?
Yeah.
Or?
And so pretty much realizing like pretty much doing the same things on different sides of, I guess, the Cleveland region. It made more sense to really combine those two efforts together, I guess, to promote the social justice type of work that we do.
Mm-hmm. And you came on board when?
I came on board, I think the exact date I actually started was November 2008 I know it's November 17, 2008. And so right after the Barack Obama campaign is pretty much when I started my first day.
Uh-huh. So how did it all come about? How did they find you, or did you find them?
It's a long story. So pretty much I had started off, I grew up in the city of East Cleveland when I was younger. I lived on a street called Ravine Drive, a street over from Caledonia. A lot of people might remember that. Really had a really nice upbringing there. Fortunately, my dad had, he pretty much started making more money. He worked for Chrysler Corporation and everything. We saved up some money, and my parents purchased a home in Cleveland Heights. And so I had a lot of really good memories in East Cleveland, but never had really like went back after I went to Cleveland Heights until like I guess I was like a couple of years, after high school, pretty much went through a whole career. I was a CNC programmer at the time. I was actually going to John Carroll at the time, and during the summer, one of my friends he was going to CSU, he couldn't afford the rent, I guess for the summer, and so we decided to rent a place together in East Cleveland. And that's when I came back to really see like some of the devastations that I just thought that, how could this really happen? And so that's what got me involved in the community. One of the things is so we moved on a street called Howard Avenue, and I guess when I agreed to like room with them to save money, I didn't like look at the house before I'd agreed. And so we pull up to the house, and it's like on that particular street, it was about maybe 95% of the homes on that street were abandoned and vacant. And I looked at him. I said, "Did you vet out this place before we decided to sign the contract?" And he was like, "Whatever." And so we lived there for a while, and there's a lot of things that we saw there. But I think one of the things that really I guess resonated with me to say that I need to really come back to this community and like invest. I really believed in this community, and so. There was a single parent mother who lived on the first floor of the two-family house that we stayed in, and she had a daughter that was there, elementary school age, pretty little girl. If I had a daughter, I want her to look just like that one. She was just a bundle of joy, very active, and I'll watch how she would be playing with her Easy Bake Ovens and her Barbie dolls in the front yard in the midst of all these abandoned vacant properties, people pretty much coming and dumping construction debris and tires in vacant properties. There was drug activity on the street in the midst of all that. And I couldn't understand how that could be so when we had right next door. If you know where Howard Avenue is, right under the bridge, you have University Circle, which is one of the biggest economic engines in the Cleveland region. And I saw that contrast, and I felt that the only way to really to get things better in that community was to get involved. And so, long story short, I ended up purchasing a home in East Cleveland. I really started getting involved. I was getting a little leery of my job at the time because I wasn't being fulfilled in that way. But I really began to really think about legacy and something I wanted to leave behind. At that time, my dad, he had just he just had his third heart attack, and so it was a real scary time in my life. And so, really thinking about legacy. I wanted to get more involved in the community because I felt like I need to be doing something instead of being in a machine shop manipulating metal and everything. I wanted to impact the lives of other people. So I began to get involved in the community. I've been a part of like many like neighborhood groups within the community. I organized street cleanups and neighborhood cleanups, and really like just like learning to see what what makes East Cleveland tick, and how do you like really get to the systemic causes of what's happening in that community. And long story short, one of the frustrations I had was I went back to work full time as a machinist, and it was kind of hard to like weigh like trying to really like build something in East Cleveland as far as like getting residents involved and getting them engaged in like, I guess, a vision about a better East Cleveland, and really like looking at how we can do that. But it was kind of hard to do when you had an 8-hour job and you had other responsibilities. And one of the things I actually prayed and asked God for was an opportunity to actually think about those things full time. And so I actually got like recommended to go to Neighborhood Leadership Cleveland. Don Slocum, like its executive director is Don Slocum, and I went through that program, Class 24, for all those who've been through that program.
Tell us what that is, though. So
what it is it's a program for grassroots leaders within the community of Cleveland, and I guess I got grafted in because I was from East Cleveland, to pretty much like it's to pretty much help us to think through a little bit better about how to be community leaders and some of the challenges that we have, and really just taking a look at like those type of models all over, that type of thing. And so it's like I think it's a 16-week course that we meet once a week.
And who is the sponsor of this?
Well, this is it's called NLI, the Neighborhood Leadership Institute. Pretty much Don Slocum is the executive director of that institute. Mm-hmm. And at that time it was housed out of Cleveland State University.
That's what I was asking where it was housed.
Yeah. And so long story short, within that meeting I started going to, somebody else there from East Cleveland. It was like, well, this is an organization, Travell, you'd be great, because I was like really promoting the city and everything. And it's like, you'd be great. Noah's in that, they're trying to do some organizing within that community. And so long story short, I ended up going to a meeting. And at that meeting, there was this executive director at that time was Jason Lair, and he was up in the front. And it was a bunch of like East Cleveland residents who've been sold like a bill of goods for a long time and everything, and there was like no hope in there. It's like they were very skeptical of like anything like gaining traction and that type of stuff. And what he was talking about was like how residents can get involved and build power for themselves in order to like make those type of changes that they want to see in the community, and pretty much driving the issue that they have to be self-participants in their own deliverance and that type of thing. And this is how you do it. And he offered training and all that kind of stuff. And everybody was sort of like, well, yeah, but they wasn't really sold in. And so I really got up and I said to the group, I said, listen, I think this is no matter where the trust levels are at or that type of thing, this is a grand opportunity for us to get training in order to build power for ourselves, so that we can, the things that we see in our community that we don't like, that we can actually change those things. Mm-hmm. And so pretty much after that, the executive director came to me and said, yeah, we're hiring for a community organizer, and I think you should apply for that position.
Now, this was the executive director of
NOAA before me.
Before you, all right.
Yeah. And so the long story short was, I told him, yeah, but I really did have like a completely technical background, and I didn't really think that, I could like do this work professionally. So I didn't apply. And so he saw me again. He says, yeah, Travell, we got this community organizer position open. I think you should apply. And I said, okay, and I kind of blew it off. And then he saw me again. He said, Travell, we have this community organizer position available, and I think you should apply. So you know what I did after the third time? I applied for the position. 3 strikes. and so long story short, I said the only thing that so I went through the application process. They actually said that they wanted me. It was a hard thing because I've actually worked for a machine shop for 12 years and everything, and really like developed like a sort of like family like type of relationship with the people that I work with. But it was like my transition, my crossroad. And so what I told them was, right after the Barack Obama campaign, I'll be there to work for you guys. And so they waited for me, and November 17th of 2008, that's when I started. Yeah.
That's quite a story.
Yeah.
I do like people's stories very much, and when I asked you to tell yours, I had no idea it was going to be quite so fascinating. And
it was long too.
No, I think that it was fine, exactly the way you told it, because there's a kind of destiny.
Yeah.
It was at work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And being a faith-based person, I'm sure that
Yeah.
was, a part of it. You were really led to that. I wanted you to talk about, and maybe just before we go to the break, the inclusion of the word hope in the name of the organization, Noah's Northeast Ohio Alliance for Hope.
Yeah.
When did that become a part of it? Was it from the very beginning?
It was from the very beginning. So when NOAH had merged those two organizations together, and it's traditionally been a faith-based organization. So I mean, hope implies a lot of things, but I think that word added in there, I mean, really, I mean, it's pretty much, I mean, it's a faith-based organization, and the ideal of hope, saying that just because you don't see it now doesn't mean it can't happen, that type of thing, and really bringing hope in the lives of people so that energize them to actually to move into a way that they can like make changes for themselves, and then they happen to do. And I know even with community organizing, some of the things that we try to do is try to really push people to do things that they never thought that they can do.
When we come back from the break, that's what you're going to be talking about. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Tervel.